Hello. Today we are going to continue with our last section for Chapter 7, 7.8% change. In this section, we're going to see how analyzing change is very important in businesses. A business owner is interested in knowing if there has been an increase or a decrease in his profits over a period of time. Recall that the new amount can be calculated directly when the percent increase or decrease from an original amount is given. An increase in sales of 25% implies that the new amount is 125% of the original amount, while a decrease of 25% means the new amount is 75% of the original amount. This idea can be generalized with the following statements here. An increase of X percent implies the new amount is 100 plus X percent of the original. And a decrease of X percent means that the new amount is 100 minus X percent of the original. So increase means to add and decrease means to subtract. Let's take a look at some examples. Determine next year's sale goals N if the company wants to increase this year's sales of $250,000 by 15%. So the goal is 115% of last year's sales, okay? Because this is an increase. So you're going to take the increase here and add 100% to it. So the next year's sales goal, is 115% of last year's sales. That would be 100% plus the 15% increase, and that's going to give us 115%. Now, that 115%, we're going to multiply that by the original price, or the original sale. So 250,000 times 1.15 is going to give us next year's sales goal, and it gives us $287,500. Okay, here's a formula that you can use to help you remember. Percent change is equal to the amount of change divided by the original amount times 100%. So remember this. The percent change is equal to the amount of change divided by original amount times 100%. Finding the percent change, you first subtract to find the amount of change. So you subtract the new amount from the original amount, and that will give you the amount of change. Then you divide the amount of change by the original amount. That would be this. Divide the amount of change by the original amount. And then you convert that quotient to a percent, or indicate whether it is an increase or a decrease. Now, for our next example, what is the percent change from 75 to 100? One clue you could take a look at is when it says from a number to another number, if the number is getting bigger from the original to the new number, then that is an increase, isn't it? But if the original number compared to the new number is lower, then of course that would be a decrease. Okay, now this is an increase, isn't it? Because 75 to 100. So I'm going to subtract the two numbers, 100 minus 75, and that gives us 25. And so now I'm going to divide the change, divide by the original. The change is 25, the original is 75. And then I get 0.3 repeating the percent change. So I'm going to take 0.3 repeating, and I'm going to convert that into a decimal. So remember, I need to move the decimal over 2 places. And remember, since the repeat sign is there, that means there's another 3 here, and it just keeps going on, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. And then so my percent is going to be 33.3 repeating percent. And remember, this is an increase because it went from 75 to 100. Find the percent change to the nearest whole percent from 19 to 16. Indicate whether it is an increase or a decrease. Now, you can actually answer this last part right away, can't you? Because you're going from 19 to 16. Our numbers, did it increase or reduce? It reduced, right? It lowered. So then this is going to be a decrease. Now, let's find the percent change. Okay, so 19 minus 16. I'm going to subtract my two numbers. I get 3. The 3 is the amount of change, and then I'm going to divide that by the original number. Then that's going to give me approximately 0.16. And I want to convert that into a percent, and it's going to be a 16% decrease. All right, let's take a look at some more examples here, okay? Calculate the new amount. First, if I'm given this, increase 20 by 30%. So I'm going to take 20, I'm going to take 30% of that, and the by, okay, is going to equal multiplication. Okay, so you're going to take your original number, you're going to multiply by the percent. And if it's an increase, so here I have 20 times 30%, 20 times 0.30. And if it's an increase, then I'm going to take the original price, or the original amount, the amount of change, and I'm going to add them together because that's an increase. And then I should get 26. Then, if I have a decrease, if I decrease 40 by 15%, now I'm going to multiply 40 times 15%, so 0.15, and then I should get 6 from that. But because it's a decrease, then I have to subtract the original number. I'm going to subtract the new number 6, or the percent here, okay? 40 minus 6, and then that should give me 34. Okay, now find the percent change and indicate whether it is an increase or decrease. So let's say I'm given the original amount of 10, and then the new amount is 13. So first I have to subtract the two, right? Because then I can find the amount of change. So 13 minus 10, and that gives me 3. Okay, now what's my original number? It is 10. So I'm going to put 3 over 10 for my fraction, and I get 0.30. And look what it does. It tells me this 30 right here is a 30%, and because it went from 10 to 13, then it was a 30% increase. For the next example here, the original amount was 25. Then the new amount here is 6. Now I'm going to subtract the two numbers, okay, 25 minus 6. That gives me 19. Now I'm going to find the percent change, okay? My amount of change, 19, I'm going to divide it by the original amount, 25, and I should get 0.76. And so to convert that to a percent, then that's going to be 76%. And because I went from a 25 down to 6, then that's a decrease. 76% decrease. Our next example here. Last year, Mrs. Rutherford's homeroom sold 56 cartons of candy bars. So this year, her homeroom sold 80 cartons. What was the percent change? So, I have my two numbers right here, the two cartons. The percent change, I have to subtract the two, right? And then take that amount of change and divide by what? Divide by the original number. So, if I subtract the two, I get 24. Then I'm going to put 24, that's my amount of change, and divide by the original amount, which is 56 cartons. That's going to give me approximately 0.429. I can convert that to a percent. It'll be a 42.9% increase because it went from 56 cartons up to 80 cartons. This is a 42.9% increase. Now it says around to the nearest tenth of a percent. So that's why this is the 10th of the percent. This is the 10th place. All right, our next example here. Dylan has 65 baseball cards and Joseph has 50. Dylan has what percent more than Joseph? So first we take our two numbers. We have to find the difference, don't we? So we have to subtract the two.